How does Spring Boot simplifies application development compared to Spring Framework? This is very easy question in the Spring Boot, and if you have been using Spring Boot, you know the reason why Spring Boot is preferred compared to Spring Framework. This one you just have to count the features that are there in a Spring Boot to the interviewer and convince him that how Spring Boot makes the developer's life easy and application development very smooth. So let's cover those features one by one. First one that comes with it, the simplified dependency management. Let's say we are creating any application that needs the feature of web. It needs database connectivity, it needs a server, at least these things it needs. So for these dependencies, like for web, there are many dependencies that I need to add. For database, I have to add the jar, which provider I am using, many other dependencies I need. So for server also I have choice like Tomcat, Jetty, and how many I have to do that one. With the Spring Boot, in the configure, in the build file or XML file, in the basically if you're using Gradle, so you can use build.gradle or build.xml. In case of Maven, I can add these dependencies and these dependencies will be downloaded automatically. So on top of these dependencies, if this is dependent on any other dependency, that will also be downloaded transitively, like automatically they will be downloaded also. That is how it simplifies the dependency. And one more thing, like if I have to use the web related, like there are servers, databases are there, right? So if I need the database, so there is a concept of starter in this, right? So in the starter there is a data starter, there is a web starter, okay, there is AOP starter, and there is Kafka starter. Many more starters are there, so they like wrap all the needed dependencies in the starter only. So let's say data starter, it needs Hibernate dependency, it needs other dependencies to facilitate the data access with the database, right? So it combines all of that in a single dependency in here, and I just have to add this data starter in my configuration and it will download all that. The same is the story with the web also. It needs a Tomcat server, it needs a request mapping, object mappers, and all that thing is need. It wraps all those dependencies in a single starter and it does download that one. Similarly with other also. That is how the dependency is simplified. Let me show you the example. Okay, so this is one of the service that I have created a while back. So I'm using Gradle in here, so that is what it is in here. So this is the simplified configuration, like plugins that I need, whatever the Java version that is there, and the main thing is coming in here like dependency. So with this data GPA, all the database related things are downloaded automatically. Starter theme leaf, whenever I have to render, use the front end also, like HTML, CSS, and also all those related dependency that needs to be there, this starter takes care of that one and downloads that one. Starter web is there to have like controller, REST controller, request mapping, view how it is there, and the server also, it takes care of that one. Okay, and starter test is there. Starter test is there to take care of all the test related dependencies like Mockito, unit test, like JUnit, and all that dependencies downloaded in here. And apart from starter, if I need any specific dependencies, so as always, like we can add that without any issue. So if you see like 4 or 5 lines I have added in here, right? Like let's see how many it has downloaded. Basically, if I see the external library, you see whole lot of dependencies are in here. So that is the magic of the dependency, simplified dependency management. Basically, that is how it has downloaded all the dependencies. So let me show you the one example in here, like Data's API and web, how it is doing this under the hood. So if you look for the starter in here, these are the starters right in here. Spring Boot starter is there. So let me look for this starter web that is here. So if you open this one, these things are there. So jar file is in here, right? So I just want to go to open in Explorer. I want to go to the place where it has downloaded the dependency. Basically come one step back, and if you see this Spring Boot starter web 3.3.2, this is the version that is in here, and inside that these 4 folders have been created. So go one by one. So this is the POM. I'm interested in this POM file basically, but if you open others, one of the folder you will find jar, one of the folder you will find sources, one of the folder you will find the web. This is how this is modularized basically. So I'm interested in this POM here. So what I'm going to do here, open this with IntelliJ itself. Okay, will be easy to read in here. So this is the pom.xml for the web that we have, right? So if you see the name, this is the Spring Boot starter web, and if I come down in here, what are the dependencies that are in here? So first dependency is Spring Boot starter, second is the starter JSON, starter Tomcat, Spring Web Embassy. So this is the basic dependency, Spring Web Embassy, and this is starter web also depending on other starters as well, like Spring Boot starter JSON, Spring Boot starter Tomcat. So let's open them as well. So come one step back in here, Spring Boot is in here, and I can see other starters in here, like starter Tomcat was there, right? So if I open this one, and there should be a POM file in here as well. Okay. See this starter Tomcat, right? So under the hood, this starter Tomcat is downloading how many things? So coming to this dependency section, Jakarta annotation API it is downloading, Tomcat embedded core is downloading, Tomcat annotations API it is downloading, right? So these 3 dependencies that are there, Tomcat embedded WebSocket annotations API it is doing there. So this Tomcat starter is not depending on any starter further, so there is no another POM. This is the direct library that it is going to this download, and these are the libraries that will help like Tomcat to start. Basically they are Tomcat server dependency only. Okay, so that is where you see like how the chain is there, right? From this single dependency, transitively other dependencies are stitched in the POM. These are known as bill of materials, basically software bill of materials in terms of a Spring that is used there. That is how it simplifies all the dependencies in here. The second point that is their auto configuration. So let's see this as well. When I create my application, so there is one class that gets created automatically. So this is a structure, basically ID master application. This is the magic @ Spring Boot application. So if you open this Spring Boot application, so it is composed of 3 main annotations, basically Spring Boot configuration, enable auto configuration, and component scan. These 3 annotations are there that takes care of automatically configuring all the dependencies that are there. So enable Spring Boot configuration, if I open this one, so this takes care of all other things, and this component scan is there, so that takes care of creating like scanning all the dependencies that are under this one. Auto configuration is yet annotation like auto configuration package. So whatever starters that I have used in here, starter data, starter ThymeLeaf, starter web, so by default it configures all of that. So if I just created this application, I can go ahead and start this and it will start my application. Okay, I just have to focus on the business logic. That is the magic of this Spring Boot application. It will do, I don't have to care about how the beans are created and all that, right? How the server port is coming, how they are configured, all that. So they are pre-built, coming as part of the starters, and I just have to use this annotation and will take care of all that automatically. When I say that it is going to take care of the automatically, does not mean that I do not have flexibility. At any point in time I can go and override that configuration, but if the by default is going to work fine, I don't care like to override that one. That is how it simplifies the application development. The next thing is the embedded server. We already saw like starter web I added, and Tomcat server is coming with this by default, so I don't have to configure any server explicitly. Opinionated by defaults, we just talked about this one in this one, auto configuration itself. Like, so the next point is the starter POMs. So this is something that I explained you, like I showed you, right, that POM files that are there, and that is how they help to get all the dependencies downloaded. Basically production ready features, so it comes with all the production ready features that are there. Like whenever you have our application is in production, so first feature that I need the health check. Before actually interacting with the application, I want the health check of that one. Second is I need the information about my application. Third thing is I need the logging information. Like fourth thing is I need the CPU, memory, and all these monitoring things and number of things are needed. So Spring Boot has one dependency that is actuator. So this is also one of the starter. If I add this in my application, all of these features are provided out of the box in there. I don't have to implement all of these one, they will come with that one by default if I add this dependency in here. So production ready features are available out there. Externalized configurations that are there. So when you create the Spring Boot application, you get the application.properties or application.yaml files. In there you can configure application related configuration very easily in there. Even if I have created my jar files, I can provide those application.properties from outside. That is what it is, externalized configuration, and it helps a lot. All of the things that I explained in here, they are not in there in the Spring plain. That Spring framework is there plain vanilla, it is not available out of the box in there. So I just have to do all of that thing manually, whatever is provided in Spring as by default. That is how Spring Boot simplifies the application development over Spring Boot. All of these things very important. Point wise, if you can explain it, that will make things very clear. I hope you found this application useful. There are more interview questions around this one, like how auto configuration is coming into picture. There is more to it, like Spring Boot, how those things come into picture. Basically, how can I show you that? I'll be showing you that in the further videos. So make sure that you check out the links that are given in the description box. All the interview questions are available in there, and many demo videos, microservices and Spring Boot and all that is also available. So because until unless you have experimented it, like you have created your own application, you won't be able to answer those properly. So make sure that you do practice as much as possible. I hope you found this useful. If this is the case, please subscribe the channel, like it, share it with your friends. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye bye.